Greetings, beings. Reverend Jakob Martinez here, Crystal Haiku Guy from artlove.me. Thank you so much for joining us for your mid-monthly January Tarot by Tribe series. This is an M for mature audiences only channel, so please only be watching this if you're considered a legal adult wherever you are. And I should also mention, I do tend to have somewhat strong messages that come up at times. I work with spirit, and sometimes they just show me some interesting things that can be tough to digest for some people, and it just so happens that I also use strong language. So please know that in advance. If that's not to your liking or your taste, this might not be the best channel for you, and there are a lot of great readers here, so feel free to poke around. I recommend looking into your sun, your moon, and your rising signs at least. Some people have actually told me that they sometimes benefit from looking at Mars and Venus signs or different signs depending on what it is that they're trying to learn about. So I have actually chaptered everything. This series comes in 4 videos, so in this playlist, if you go underneath any of the videos, they will each have hyperlinks that'll take you to any of the different tribes or signs. I call them tribes here. That's how my guides speak to me. So again, just feel free to jump ahead if you would like. But also know that the beginning of all my videos is basically devoted to me clearing the space, doing an energetic calibration over the energy grid that I work with here on my spirit board. And many times there are channeled messages that come up on the front end too. Some people say that they're pretty specific to them at times, and so I recommend looking into that if that's something that's of interest. If not, feel free to just jump ahead by clicking under any of the videos and jumping to whichever hyperlink takes you to your chapter. All right, great. So another little note, I'm not somebody that is dogmatic about gender. I tend to think that people know what their own gender is, whether or not the story speaks to that gender in specific terms. So please use your own intelligence with this. I'm not telling you what your gender is or what somebody else's is. I think you know that. So use your intelligence with everything, and also use your own good judgment and discernment. These are general readings that are given to me to help others. This is my service to others, and I'm not telling people what to do or making any strong recommendations to anybody that a message pertains to them specifically. These are basically guidance, and I recommend just kind of hearing it and taking it with an open mind. If it's something that resonates with you on some level, you might know if it pertains. And if it doesn't feel like it's ringing the bell of truth with you, hey, chuck it if you want, file it away somewhere in the Rolodex of your mind, and if it happens to come up over the next couple of weeks, it might just provide a lens to you to help analyze whatever the situation is. So that's how I recommend using these. And if you want a message that's more specific to you, I'd love to do your personal reading. I have a number of different ways that I can help look very specifically into whatever it is that you would like to learn about, due to the way that I've been skilled in various different forms of divination, in addition to having direct consult from spirit and being, psychic intuitive, if you will. So if you would like more information about any of the services that I offer, if you go to artoflove.me and click services up at the top, you'll be greeted with the information there on how to hire me and how it is that I work. And I will also let you know I'm running a special right now called the Down and Dirty Special, and it's kind of like the Down and Dirty Dailies that I do, my daily Monday through Friday series, where it's kind of short, truncated messages. I'm kind of doing a similar style reading for people that just want like down and dirty information into their life, and that's basically just going on for the end of the month. Because I plan on taking a little bit of time to myself beginning of next month, because it's actually going to be my 40th birthday. So, Down and Dirty special, you can get more information if you just click the description box below, and that'll take you right to that information and how you can book me for that. All right, so I'm going to break these readings down using 5 different decks of cards, which you'll see me actually shuffle at the front end of this here in a minute. If you do choose to watch that. For the challenge style energy, I like to use Carolyn Mace's archetype cards. They give us light and shadow attributes. And for the physical material realm, we use the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. And taking a look at the mental sector of your life, I like to use the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. And then we use two different Doreen Virtues decks to wrap them up. The first is for the basically personal or romantic sector, and I use the Doreen Virtues Romance Angels Oracle deck, and then I like to seal them all up with a little practical advice and a prayer from Archangel Michael using the Archangel Michael deck. So I think that's going to cover it all for now. Hope you enjoy your readings. I'll catch you on the inside. Greetings, Air Tribes. So I've been cleaning the space here, and this has actually taken me an extra day to get to these. Sometimes that happens depending on how I'm feeling and the kind of stuff that comes up. Just because of how I work, I experience a lot of the stuff in my body, which can be enduring at times. I was getting some stomach stuff. Felt really like seasick for like the past couple of days while I was even just tuning in to come and do what was remaining of my energetic grid work. That's really what this is. I bring readings to you as a result of how I do my energy work, not the other way around. So it's probably different than how other people do it. I know a lot of people come and go, like, here's your reading, you know, I'm just doing this to give you your reading. I do energy work on the grid, and sometimes I have to slow things down just depending on how I'm feeling as I'm moving the energy. And there was a really like a seasick kind of tummy, like nausea thing coming up that was not like the vertigo. I'd had vertigo when I moved here. I just moved house recently before the end of the year in 2016. And this was a distinct feeling. It was a seasick feeling. And there were some messages coming up. I'm just going to show you one of the prayer cards that landed. It was, I think, a really good thing. New beginnings and a fresh start. And I'm hearing, well, that's cool. I just looked at what was underneath it. Go forward fearlessly was underneath that. And that actually came up for someone else. I think it might have been Capricorn. Yeah, Capricorn actually got that same card a couple days ago on these mid-monthlies, but the seasick feeling was coming, and I was hearing something about somebody getting caught. They were showing it to me like a business trip is how it was being shown to me, but I was getting this weird vibe, and I'm going to say it with that, you know, kind of wink wink, because I'm not this kind of person, but you know, that bros before hoes mentality. I was getting real strong vibes about some kind of bros before hoes business, not necessarily like an actual business trip, but they were showing it to me different ways, and I was just hearing about somebody like finding out and it being like a situation that takes them out of a real kind of, I'm hearing it's like a fucked up limbo that somebody's in, and it's mostly because they have been sort of needing enlightenment to get them to take a step out of the situation that's not good for them. And they were literally showing me the Exorcist card from my Carolyn Mace archetype deck, and I'm just going to show you because, I mean, this is actually what came out. It's like the Exorcist, and I'm hearing it's something that somebody needed to know. It's a kind of enlightenment that they need to know, and something might be coming out about business trips, and you know, look, to each their own. People are adults. I'm not here to tell people how they should do relationships, all right, you know, but what I will say is I'm kind of a no bullshit person when it comes to telling lies about, you know, things like that, like cheating in relationships and stuff. I'll be honest with you, I think it fucking sucks. So, you know, honestly, if somebody's watching this and you have like a suspicion about your person's business trips or whatever, you might find something out if you're on this channel right now watching Air Tribes. And If that's the case, you know what? God bless you, and do what you need to do, because that's some fucked up behavior and you don't deserve that, and someone shouldn't be bitch slapped for it. If it comes out, they should seriously be fucking bitch slapped for lying to you about that. I'm not advocating violence, but like an energetic bitch slap is definitely due if somebody's been lying about that. So I'm just going to start with that because it came up, and you know what? Maybe that's why it took me a couple days to do this. I hate having to deliver messages like that, but I did not like it. And I think that people that are liars and cheaters, honestly, personally, I think that they should be exposed. And I also am just kind of just sick of the way certain types of people have gotten away with shady behavior just because of the way the world currently has operated. And I'm the new sheriff's in town kind of guy. I'm like, it's time for things to be exposed. And so we might just be at like a gross point in humanity where people are being exposed for their, treacherous ways, that they insist upon inflicting themselves on others. And I think that some of that's definitely come to light with, what's going on in the world on a very large scale politically in a lot of places, not just here in the United States. And I think that we're also going to get another dose of this even in our own, community here. Let's say the metaphysical community. There are a lot of people that do not use their superpowers for the benefit of all in a really good way, in my opinion. Sorry, I'm going to be a fucking hard ass about it. I think there are a lot of people that have gifts or certain book knowledge that they're skilled at, reading scripts and using software and things to make them very intelligent. And in some cases, they're shady people that will extract from others, and that's what they're here to do. And I think it's going to become a lot more clear, especially as things are changing and our dynamic energy here, this soup that we all live in, where they're kind of more exposed. And you know what I say? Viva la fucking revolution. Okay, so that's where I am with it right now. May those that are not walking and living in a life that's in alignment with the gifts that they claim to have and actually use on others instead of really blessing them with it, because I think that's what we were given those gifts to do, be exposed for who and what they are. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start shuffling these decks here. If you don't want to watch this, that's absolutely fine. There may or may not be other messages or pop-outs that happen. Sometimes that's the case. But I'm going to go ahead and just shuffle, and sometimes if the messages do come out, I'll read them. So if you're new to my channel, that's how I roll here. We're going to be going Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. And yeah, just going to shuffle now. You won't hear from me unless something happens. I'm also being, I'm getting a warning right now for all air tribes that are watching this. And I guess cross-watchers too, you know, whoever's on this channel. And some of you might just have air in your charts, so it might not be your sun sign, that's Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, but I'm getting a strong warning about energetic hygiene right now for a lot of you. And this is coming from the octaves, okay? This is not like the anal bullshit, you know, whatever. This is for those of you, especially that are doing any sort of mediumship, you know, practicing your mediumship and your energetic protection should be number one right now is what I'm hearing. And this is like a great time to do it, especially if some of y'all are Aquarians. We are getting ready to go into our time. I'm an Aquarius sun myself, so you know, it's sort of like a revitalization of energy. And you know, we also just had the new year, so there are things that are changing, and some of you that I think are probably more in tune with the subtle energies probably feel this. And I'm being told that some of you might have been really tired for periods of time recently, and I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, like this retrograde that was just happening, and also just you being sort of pruned for some of the higher register frequencies that are coming down. And I'm just going to caution you, there are energetic vampires. There are people that do like to extract from others. And I'm just getting a very strong cautionary note for, you know, those of you that are really value your namaste space and, you know, the path that you might be on, especially if you're people that are, you know, living sort of, you know, a spiritual life of some kind. And I say spiritual in this finger quotes because I think that that word is trivialized in such a ridiculous way by some in the community. It's kind of hilarious. But that aside, people like that are the ones you should probably watch out for the most, because they do tend to have this sort of like suck action, this energetic extraction, and they're shiny energy vampires. And so I'm just going to recommend for everybody to do what you can to keep your energetic hygiene, okay, and maintain your namaste space, and you know, look into some things for energetic protection too. It's always good to sort of step it up as you go. And I don't know if people talk about that a lot. I'm actually in the process of creating a series around this that I'm going to be sharing. And at some point, it's under development right now. And you know, just maybe look into things like sound therapy. You might even hear some like Tweety birds and stuff playing here. There are certain things that I use in my own space to keep it clear of that sort of nonsense, because I'm definitely somebody who has even been targeted in that way. And I know some of the other practitioners have been too. I've been watching on YouTube. There's some other, you know, card readers and intuitives that have mentioned some of the things that they're going through right now. And there has been some like energetic warfare that's been perpetrated. And so, you know, if you're watching this, that's not to make you like scared or anything. It's just to say that, you know, it's good to learn to take care of your psychic space, especially the more in tune that you become, the more sensitive you are to these things. So energy vampires came up, and I would certainly recommend looking into sound therapy. Partnerships and Alliances just flew out, aka 3-of-Wands. That's what was looking at me here. Love Begins, Ace of Cups. Pretty nice. I'm hearing something's taken off. There's a lot of new beginning stuff. Like I showed you, that new beginnings card flew out. I was getting a ton of that with the Earth Tribes. And I'm trying to think, too, because I believe somebody actually got this card. If I'm not mistaken. Might have flown out while I was shuffling for either water or air tribes, or water or earth tribes. But yeah, the Partnerships and Alliances card, that's great. This is a card of passion and creativity, and here looks like union. See, there's like partnership between two, and I'm hearing for some it's hand fasting. I'm hearing, you know, for somebody somewhere, this might actually have to do with an actual new love coming up. Wow, that just flew off the top and hit the ground. As above, so below, disruption in the house. This, wow, they're showing me like a union coming together that makes some people feel very shaken up. It looks like it might cause a stir, and it's funny because that fell too, and there was throat chakra right underneath it. So I don't know. I hear some things are coming out, and I've been hearing that a lot. That's kind of what my whole freaking warning was about at the beginning, hearing about energy vampires. I'm hearing about, you know, people doing things that others do not like. And part of the reason is because of what gets exposed, you know. Not everybody likes it when somebody falls in love, for instance. You know, people kind of get jealous and like, why don't I have that? Or whatever, you know, sometimes that happens. And other times it's about like people that are on their life path and, you know, other people that kind of get jealous and want to take from them. So I've been getting messages like that a lot, especially for like Gemini, like over the past, I would say like, since I started this channel in May, I was getting a lot of stuff around like jealous haters coming up, and it seemed like Geminis were involved quite a bit with that. I know that's also been the case with, you know, some of, you know, Libra and Aquarius too, but for some reason they're just telling me Gemini right now because, I don't know, I just heard say Gemini, but I definitely was getting a lot of Gemini vibe with that before. Just guard your love too. You know, if you've got some new stuff, new projects coming together, especially if it's like new love, or love can take place in different ways. You know, it's not all having babies and falling in love. It's like sometimes it's new jobs and creative endeavors. So, especially if you're doing anything, new projects that you've kept secret for a while, and now they're coming out, you know, expect it could shake some things up, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. That disruption card is the Tower, by the way, in this deck here. But sometimes the Tower is just like, I mean, especially near like the 3 of Wands and like an Ace of Cups, that could be like highly passionate love. So, you know, you can take it that way too. And there's throat chakra there. That was coming a lot up for the Earth tribes too. There was some like real need for throat chakra clearing. So, you know, this might have to do with love relationships and people that are Earth-air combos, perhaps, in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, I think that's all I'm getting on that. But if you're new to my channel too, I deal these backs up. I don't flip anything on the board here until I'm like ready to read them. Okay, that's another thing too. Because I've gotten this image 2 times of the Rest and Rejuvenate card, which is it's the 4 of Swords. If you're referencing the Rider-Waite Smith tarot deck or systems like that, where it's like the person in bed resting. There's a different image with the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, and it's called Rest and Rejuvenate, and it actually came up for somebody else too. Like the actual card did come up. I think it was, it was for Taurus. Taurus got this card for the mid-month. Maybe you're dealing with a Taurian person or have some Taurus in your chart. Wow. Well, I said that honeymoon flew out with chemistry on top. I'm hearing some people are going to, like, take off and, like, have a vacay. And in some cases, I was hearing shotgun wedding. It was, like, something happening fast. But in other cases, it's really just about, you know, caution to make sure that you're very well rested right now, especially if you've been feeling tired, because I hear, like, it got busy, like, really fast. Like, Mercury just went direct on, like, the 9th, I think. And, you know, things might have been slow in a lull before, and then we're about to get the surge of, like, the Aquarius sun coming in here. It's probably going to get really busy for a lot of people. And so I'm hearing, you know, try to rest if you can, and maybe just take a weekend away, too. You know, I'm hearing a good 3-day weekend would be nice for some people. Maybe that's what that 3 of Wands is. It's like going and just, like, doing something you love quietly for a little while, but resting would be a good thing. And for others, you know, maybe it's a romantic weekend somehow. That honeymoon card can sometimes mean just that. Good for you if that's what you got. Alright, like a pile of cards just flipped out. I'm not going to look at them all, but this is what was on the bottom. That's a good one. Calling in your soulmate. So your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. Hallelujah. Soulmates can come in various different shapes and sizes and forms. So it's not all, you know, puppy dogs and cuddles. But if you are calling in a divine partnership, let's say, God bless your union. Remember that it's going to be a reflection of how much you've cleaned up inside and learned to love and accept yourself too. So, you know, I just got to say it. People, like, I've been hearing a lot of things about people talking about calling in karmic relationships. I wouldn't necessarily put that on a pedestal because karma can be, like, really fucked up to have to deal with. You know, maybe let's, like, call in dharmic relationships and, like, work on our dharma and, like, clearing up all that old stuff so that we're not calling in these weird lessons. It's a new year, y'all. It's all about keeping good energy hygiene within yourself and, like, being the reflection of what you want in another, right? That's how you're going to get something that treats you right. Alright, so Delta Mall backs up. We're going to go Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, and start with you, Aquarius. Hey, how's it going? Happy middle of the month to you. hope your New Year's off to a great start. I'm going to flip your cards. All right. Cool, Aquarius. I like this energy. Speaking of new beginnings, you got two aces here. I'm going to just start with the first one. I'm hearing Beacon of Truth. That's the words I just heard. Ace of Swords showing up in your physical material realm. I'm hearing in a lot of cases this is y'all having taken a firm posture and being the beacon of truth in your own light, and it kind of putting a crown on your head. You know, it's like crowning yourself because of your enlightenment and being in your truth and alignment. And I love this ace. Probably the most passionate card in many decks. This one passion ignited that's showing up on your mind in the mental sector here, Aquarius, is the Ace of Wands. That can be some sexy right there, you know, and this can also just be awesome new beginnings. And I'm hearing for yourself and others. Way to rise to the occasion, Aquarius. That card showing up here, Advocate. It's probably one of my favorite cards in the Carolyn Mace archetype deck because it's I don't know, that's just how I see it. It seems like a very Aquarian thing right there. It's like a guardianship over, right? So, of course, there's light and shadow attributes. I'm going to read them both to you because this is sort of like your challenge style energy for the second half of the month. Advocate, light attributes, state. Inspires you to put compassion into action. Shadow attributes, state. Embracing negative causes or committing to causes for personal gain. Definitely keep it in mind. Swords can go both ways, definitely, but I will say this did show up upright in the physical material realm, so if this is about you and how you're demonstrating advocacy for self and others, I like how you showed up. That's legit. Let's pop open the book here. I just want to jump right into that Advocate. Carolyn Mace's archetype deck. This is the book. And here's what it says on the Advocate, Aquarius. We've got several different keywords to keep in mind, and they've given us 3 bullet points in a tip. Advocate, attorney, defender, legislator, lobbyist, environmentalist. These sound like very Aquarian terms if you ask me. Here's the first bullet point. Embodies a lifelong devotion to championing the rights of others and a passion to transform social injustices. Second bullet point states, dedicated to inspiring the empowerment of groups or causes. And the third one is about the shadow advocate. It says that the shadow advocate manifests in false or negative causes while seeking personal gain. That's kind of what I was warning you about in the beginning if you caught the channeled messages and how some use their skills. And I'm being told to just mention it. You know, I'm not going after anybody specifically. I'm not going to do that here. But I will say, too, that there are some trifling people that will use shadow aspects of what advocate is to extract from others. And it would be a good time now in this 2017 to pay very close attention to how others come at you, especially with their spiritual insights. The tip to keep in mind says, ask yourself how much of your life is dedicated to social causes and a willingness to take action. I'm hearing rise to the challenge, Aquarius. And I hear some of y'all may have been hearing this call to action for a while now. And in some cases, it's been something that's been quiet that maybe pinged you when you were really little before people were like, you know, coming at you with you can't do this and you can't do that and you need to be practical, or, you know, whatever it was. I'm hearing a lot of people have that stirring with them right now. And so, you know what? Maybe this is a little bit of advice about how to honor that in yourself right now, Aquarius. It's a new year. It's about to be your birthday. So for many of you, advocacy starts with the self. And so go you, if this is how you're showing up in your life, okay, because this did show up in the physical material realm. I say that ace looks like an Aquarius right there. And I'm hearing some of y'all need to pick up a pen and sign some papers that maybe you were delaying on. I'm hearing it might have something to do with, you know, your kids or a divorce or just something that you needed to put away. And that might be that pen in your hand right there. That might be you taking guardianship and being the advocate in some way. This is what's showing up as the advice card, and where I usually will seal up these readings is on practical advice and a tip from Archangel Michael with this prayer, which I'm going to save for the end. But here at the top, it says, your children are watched over by angels, Aquarius. And I'm really sorry if anybody has lost any children due to a custody situation or, you know, maybe something else. I'm hearing about children that have crossed over to the other side and that are being protected. You know, this could play out different ways. I'm hearing in some cases, though, if you're watching this, maybe that's part of what's calling you into this, like, advocate role, or, you know, looking into a direction that seems adjacent to that, and being, you know, the guardian of others. And I'm noticing all this yellow here that is like the same yellow that's crowned you. It's like a healthy sense of ego and not some bullshit where you're, like, just trying to, like, throw yourself, you know, ridiculously, by making claims, you know, that you aren't really living for. And I'm hearing in some cases that's what this is here. It's like you've learned to guard yourself with that healthy ego and that fire, and that that's really what's become your truth. And that might be why, you know, maybe you lost someone or something, or you're afraid to, and it's taken you into a place where you are willing to put the time in, because this showing up, okay, the worth waiting for card using the During Virtues Romance Angels deck is, you know, this could definitely be about romance and, you know, the divine timing in play with calling forward a sort of relationship. But in other cases, you know, if it has no romantic implication, could really truthfully be about the time that you have found worthy as an investment into whatever advocacy stands for or means in your world, and how you show up. And I'm hearing for some of you, it's literally like having taken the fire of your ego, and instead of being like a douchebag about it, or, you know, inflicting it on others, and whatever these shadow qualities are that maybe are why you're an advocate, allowing that to protect yourself. And that's like that protection. I was getting a really strong message about protecting your energy space right now from vampires, like energetic vampires. It was coming up real strong when I was doing the shuffle and like the channeled messages at the beginning of this. If you didn't catch it, you might want to watch it, Aquarius. I thought it was pretty interesting personally. But, you know, we see that same yellow being like the thing that's like protecting and crowning the truth that I'm hearing is your beacon. And I'm hearing that for a lot of you, it's because of how you've applied that. And in some cases, you forgot to protect yourself with it. You were protecting others. So this might be a call to action to also protect yourself with that, you know, because I know a lot of you haven't. I know a lot of people have been very selfless about this. And so just keep that in mind. And remember that, you know, these things can cut both ways, right? You know, these swords. So it's always good to kind of protect your crown space. And I'm hearing that that's what that is for some of y'all, and that that's what this like lush green is coming over here that's like producing fruit or whatever is coming off of it. It's like how you've protected yourself, and that if you haven't, that this is just a good warning to do that, because it's going to bear good things, okay? So I love that Ace of Swords. Now, if that's not about you, this can also just be about things that are happening and about new starts. I'm hearing communications are just huge right now, and that they keep showing me somebody like picking up the pen for something now. You know, this could be new projects that have some sort of an intellectual aspect to them, you know, whether it's, you know, a creative project or, you know, writing something. But I'm hearing in some cases this is about documents. And I'm hearing in some cases this might be about something the Aquarius needs to take some action on. And I'm hearing, you know, especially if you are concerned about the kids, that it's most likely it's a good thing to go ahead and take action on that. And I'm hearing some people might be here wondering, you know, should I really do this? Well, you know what? It didn't show up like this. This is a general reading, so maybe you need more help looking into your private situation, which I'm very happy to do. I'm running a special on my Down and Dirty reading right now. But there are other ways to look into this too. And I would definitely, you know, be astute in all matters. This is a good card for reminding somebody to be astute in ways that have a practical implication on their life, since it is showing up in the physical material. Another thing too, you know, this could have to do with other people, so it doesn't necessarily have to be you. It's very plausible that if this does symbolize others showing up in your life that are coming forward as aces of swords, they might have strong air archetype in their constitution. So that might be people that are either Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini. So you might want to watch the other videos too if that's the case. But you're showing up upright, and I gotta say, it's looking really good. I'm hearing something about a powerful contract and coming together and being really freaking happy about it. And in some cases, I'm hearing, even though this is what's showing up on the mind, because this is the mental sector card that I use, John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. This is the Ace of Wands if you're referencing this deck. So Ace of Wands and an Ace of Swords side by side, air and fire. This could be a power combo. I'm hearing in some cases this might be what's worth waiting for. You know, maybe it's like a business contract. In some cases, it might have to do with love. And I'm hearing in some cases, you know, this might even be you, like how you're seeing yourself. You know, that's like, it reminds me of those images from, they're showing me, you know, like the Sacred Heart, El Corazón. It's like El Corazón del Señor. I think it's, you know, actually, I think I have it on one of my candles over here. I've got a bunch of, you know, like candles like Santeria style over here, even though I never did Santeria. I just like the candles a lot and have Jesus and like the Virgin and stuff on them, and St. Jude. But there's one where it's like Jesus is like fire heart, just like his heart's on fire, you know, and it's like, that's how I'm seeing this here. And so they're showing it to me like that, like it's like how you might even be thinking of yourself or thinking of somebody else. So one way or the other, that's a pretty passionate card. Like this person here, I'm just going to say she, he, they, other. That can be anybody, okay? I'm the guy that's not going to tell you what your own gender is. I'm sure you know what your gender is. But this person in the card picture that I'm going to say she, and she looks like she's having a good time. She is like all lit up. She's like, oh yeah, that feels good. And it's like her heart chakra and like her happy, healthy sense of ego just like are making love, and it's just like lighting her up inside. And there's that yellow thing, and then boom, there's like a crown on top. And so I'm hearing for some people, this is like freaking spiritual awakenings, you know, connections to like Gaia that are just being embodied. I'm hearing full process Kundalini awakening for some of y'all that are doing like real serious energy work with yourselves and becoming the beacon of truth and light that you came here to be, Aquarius. Go on with your badass self, you awesome rock star. You were worth waiting for. And so in some cases, you know, if this has nothing to do with romance, you know, hallelujah, because all that energy is like available here for you to heal yourself, especially if you're like dealing with some shit or coming out of a situation where you're either stressed about your kids or God bless you and your family if you've lost a child. I'm so sorry. In other cases, you know, that's just something for you to put into yourself. And if you're not making the most of this energy that's coming forward, let me remind you to please be an advocate for yourself and internalize some of that. Take some of that chi in, you know, look into different forms of energy work. If this is pinging you on some level and you haven't been doing it, let me be the guy that just encourages you lovingly to go out there and look into things like, you know, energy work. Look into EFT, you know, emotional freedom technique, where you learn, you tap on yourself and you say certain things that help clear and purify your mind and your body. Look into things like Reiki. Look into Qigong. I've been doing Qigong since like 2003 or 4. It's like, it changed my life. And there's different things that you can do to help work with this energy you can use to actually heal yourself. And in a lot of cases, that's actually what's going to help you call forward love if it hasn't happened. So sometimes, you know, that's why this shows up. This is like somebody that's just like, you know what, I'm feeling really good, and all that's missing is like somebody to express this with in like a loving way. And I'm hearing, start with yourself, especially if you're like kind of waiting in the wings for like, you know, something to show up that might even be shy, that maybe is with you energetically. Because I'm hearing in some cases that's what this is. It's like you've called in through like the spiritual channels above, like this, because you're in your truth. You called in something that makes you feel really good in like an ego way, and it's like crowding you and it's coming forward. And this is like it coming into form for you in a fiery, passionate way. And it's like, you feel it, but the person isn't there yet. And you know what, Aquarius, keep working with it. Because I'm hearing you're both worth waiting for. This is divine timing is at work in your love life. So that's good to know. It's really good to know. It's good to keep it in mind. And I feel like I just want to open up the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. I'm going to zoom in on the Passion Ignited, because I'm hearing in some cases too, that Ace of Wands, that's what that card is also known as again, might have to do with somebody that's on your mind. It might be like you thinking about somebody a lot, and they're saying this person might have strong fire in their chart, because that's a Wands card. And so it could be somebody that's got strong, you know, Aries, Leo, Sag in their chart. And that might be what's worth waiting for here, you know. I'm just going to read you what the book says. The first of the spirit cards signifies that this is the time to let your soul soar. New beginnings, ideas, revelations, and exciting adventures await you in your personal or business life. Creative endeavors, enthusiasm, positive energy, and a renewed spiritual strength are at an all-time high. The powerful force of spirit is flowing through you, and with it comes a new sense of purpose. Be all that you can be. Reach inside and tap into that force. Use it to move forward and set up a strong foundation for the future. Other people may feel your excitement and joy and begin to benefit from the spark of life that's emanating from you. They'll wonder what's your secret, and your energy could even ignite their own spiritual journey. Follow your intuition, but know that this is your time to spread your wings and fly. Great Alice energy, especially if you're doing anything that's advocating for yourself or others, right? It's going to be like a magnet, and that's also going to be like the same kind of magnet. That's what I was seeing here. It's like advice at like, maybe of what you're already doing, calling it in. Like maybe this is you calling that in, and that's what this crown is, and it's like coming into form here, and that you should know that this is like right there for you. So just keep working on it is what I'm saying. So, you know, especially if you don't feel like it's there yet, you know, it's definitely worth the effort to keep going, because it's all showing up like it's right here. And sometimes what's here hasn't materialized in your local form yet, and that can be really confusing, and not a lot of people know how to work with the energy well enough to talk to you about that. But sometimes it's literally like why it feels palpable and it's not there is because it just like this the way matter works is kind of hilarious. And I'm not going to get too much into a tangent on this one. I might save this. Actually, There will be more information in my book about it, but these things congeal somewhat slowly sometimes in the way that we're trained to visualize and experience it here in form, all right? So just keep working with it. This is the Romance Angels Oracle Deck book, and I'm going to read to you what it says about worth waiting for. All right, Aquarius. Divine timing is at work in your love life. Your soulmate relationship requires patience, as there are many factors involved. Your soulmate's free will choices are beyond your or the angel's control, as is the readiness of both you for true love. As is the readiness of both of you for true love. This card comes to you as a reminder that this relationship is worth waiting for. Divine timing is a universal law that is always in operation. It is the flow of everything. If we try to impose our human will and force things to happen, we become out of sync with nature and experience blockages. Similarly, if we fret, when will I meet my soulmate? We put worry energy into the universe. The romance angels have heard and answered your prayers for a soulmate, and they're working behind the scenes to bring this to you. Your role is to listen to and follow your intuition, even if it seems unrelated to your desire. Your intuition is like a guide dog leading you along the path of answered prayers. Follow your intuition and trust the timing of the relationship. And also realize that I was talking about this in the channeled section before I got to your cards here. Soulmates come in a lot of different forms. And so, until you're actually really standing in your truth and yourself and your value of all of those dark places that most people don't want to look at, we tend to call in karmic relationships. I know a lot of people talk about, it's a karmic relationship, like it's a good thing. Well, it is a good thing for growth a lot of times. These are catalysts for change, but they're not always like the kind of feel good sort of relationships, because they're there to show us like the dirty corners of our life that we have not taken care of. And I say dirty corners like this because I don't think that anything is really there to make you feel bad about yourself. But sometimes, you really have to clean up different parts of yourself and when I say clean up, literally just facing it like, wow, this really bothers me, or this has bothered me, and deal with it, because until you do, we keep mirroring with other people. You call on somebody that has like that same kind of wound that you do, and sometimes they remind you where yours is in a way that doesn't feel great. And it's the only way that you could get in there with your little flashlight to shine some light on that area and, learn to stand up in your truth and like find your love for yourself in the middle of all that in a way that doesn't blow your world up to shit, but maybe lights your inner fire where you have an appreciation for yourself. And, that's always worth the time. So I'm just going to leave that note there because I think that that's sort of like a good way to self-advocate, and it's constructive, practical advice. And so I'm going to leave you guys on that, Aquarius. I hope it's wonderful rest of your month. I'd love to hear from you if you'd like a personal private reading. And if not, let's just seal this up here on your children are watched over by angels. And let me remind you, that can also be your inner child, okay? You can also be that big angel to yourself, and that this can also apply to any children that are in your life, including, any companion animals, fur babies, or otherwise. And we're going to seal it up on that prayer here, Aquarius. Dear guardian angels of my children, both born, unborn, fur babies, etc. Thank you for watching over my children and ensuring their happiness and safety. Please guide me so that I know the best ways to be a good parent and role model for my own and other people's children. Amen. All right, Aquarius, this is what I got for you. I hope you liked it. I hope it made sense. So, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Hit a brother up if you'd like personal. Like I said, running a Down Dirty special. Details are below in the description box. You can hit me up at prayerfatheroftribes.com for more information, or to ask me to do a prayer for you. I'm a guy whose prayers have been answered miraculously, and I love to pray for others. So let me know if I can do that, and if not, I'll just see you again in a couple of weeks when I'm back for another reading. All right, so we're going to clear up here just a little bit, light a little sage, and then we're going to be jumping into Libra. Also lighting some agarwood incense. It keeps going out. What's going on, Libra? Happy middle of the month to you. Hope your year's off to a great start. Good regards. All right. Great energy, Libra. I'm kind of digging your spread here. Get a lot of stuff with some people's kids, you know, with the air tribes, and I was getting it a lot with the earth tribes too, and I recorded those the other day. I'm just going to jump ahead to the last two cards that I usually read, because I'm hearing some people just needed to know something, because there's some stuff coming up with the kids here, you know. This is showing up here in the person/romance sector, children, says you love life is being affected by children. But right next to it is God's in charge, and I'm hearing some of y'all just needed to know that, and that, you know, hearing something about custody, and I was getting this with Aquarius too, and I was hearing somebody just needs to sign some papers, and you might have to do with your kids. But I'm just going to go ahead and just go back to the beginning now. Using the Carolyn Mace's archetype deck for the light and shadow attributes of your challenge style energy for the second half of the month. Libra, we got the athlete, and I really like this card. This is somebody that's got the strength to conquer the world, and I'm hearing some of y'all need to know that, and that might be why this magician's showing up here, is sort of as a warning too, just to keep it on your mind. And I think that might be the case for some of y'all here in the next couple of weeks, Libra, because this one here, aka magician, right, awareness, using the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, that's what's showing up on your mind. So, you know, that's pretty powerful with this athlete energy here. So, you know, I'm hearing that you need to know that, and know that you also got some really strong backup right now, especially if you're dealing with anything hectic, you know. It's a new year, and they're saying you need to know God's in charge, and that you've got a lot of freaking power that's available to you. So try to keep that on the center of your mind like that if you need to, Libra. I'll go ahead and read to you what the Carolyn Mace archetype card says on this athlete. It's giving us light and shadow attributes to keep in mind, because this is perhaps how you're tempted to act over the next couple of weeks, if not how situations around you or others might be demonstrating themselves. The light attributes state dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, development of personal willpower, and strength of spirit. Shadow attributes state misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends, and a false sense of invulnerability and entitlement. That's definitely a cautionary note too, especially if, you know, that's pinging you in any way. They say it might be hitting you like right in the head. You're like, oh yeah, I know who that is. You know, that misuse of selfish ends and abilities, especially if it has anything to do with your kids. I'm hearing in some cases that might be what that is. You know, I just got to say it because, all right, this deck doesn't show reversals, and sometimes they'll show up once in a while, like I'll get one upside down, and I'm like, whoa, let's pay attention to shadow attributes. But just speaking in full spectrum energy, this magician, I love this energy. I very much personally relate to this. You know, this card here is a great card to relate to as an archetype, as an energy presence, and like all energies, because all energy is bipolar. So if you haven't heard this before, let me be the one to demystify this for you. All energy works on a spectrum, and I think it's really rude of people to call others, you know, oh, you're just bipolar, or this or that. You know, all energy is bipolar. Let's not be so banal about it. Let's figure out how to balance things and stay in equilibrium within our own power flow, because this is where we are in the seat of our awareness, right? As the light that we are and that we came to be, because that's our light of creation, and when we're in control of it, it's like a circular thing. It works in a current, right? Currency. And this is divine currency that you can be applying and using if you are taking responsibility for the full spectrum of it. Now, having said that, I will tell you, this magician character, when they're operating on just a real low vibratory energy place where they're not taking responsibility for their currency, will sometimes be a little bit of a douchebag trickster. And sometimes that might be why this is showing up on the mind next to the children with what I'm hearing might be a fucking brute, you know, and somebody that might be misusing their abilities for selfish ends and feeling very entitled about how they demonstrate themselves. Okay, so pay attention to it, because that's always a cautionary note with the athlete. I have seen this actually be somebody that is too physically aggressive with others, or in other cases just real entitled, like, you know, I'm this, I'm that, and, you know, being invulnerable or trying to act that way. And in some cases it's just like fucking childish is what it is. And so keep it in mind if you need. There were a lot of messages about energy vampires that were coming up at the beginning when I was shuffling the decks. You might want to check that. But they want you to tell you God's in charge here. So listen to the inner voice, okay? And that might be what this is here, is like hearing that call. Because that's what's showing up on your mind for the next couple of weeks here, Libra. And they wanted me to make an emphatic point about that, because I'm hearing some of y'all need to know that. Especially if anybody is exacting themselves, you know, in your world in some kind of way. And actually, before I open up the book on the archetype card, let's jump into the physical material realm. You have the Three of Cups showing up. I love this card. A lot of times, you know, this is just a real good indication that the things that one has been emotionally kind of weighing out, because sometimes, like, I'll see the card before that, you know, not everybody sees it that way. That might be more like Two of Pentacles, or they're kind of like weighing out situations like, but sometimes weighing out things emotionally, for me too, is Two of Cups. It's not always just spiritual partnerships and things coming together. Sometimes it's literally having like two emotional pulls and kind of figuring out how, you know, to deal with it. It's learning to balance these things. And when the Three shows up like this, it's a good freaking time, you know. It looks like a party got started. It's like, hey, we know what we're doing. And I will just say, Aquarius had gotten, Aquarius, no, maybe that was, yeah, Aquarius had a 3 show up. Actually, no, it was at the beginning when I was shuffling. The 3 of Wands showed up, had popped out. It was the Partnerships and Alliances card using this deck, which is the 3 of Wands in this deck. And I'm hearing for a lot of people, this is about things that are just cusping on new. And maybe that's what this athletic prowess is all about too for some of y'all, and just this awareness in this. This is like the daddy ace, really, kind of, because this is the Trump version, you know, it's major arcana version. Ace And then we have like this 3, which is, something actually going to happen or happening. And it's a good freaking time. It's a celebration. And so in some cases, this might be new things happening because, you're just in a really good way in this new energy. In other cases, this might have to do with, parties or celebrations or, people with cups energy, things that are drawing on us in an emotional nature. Because anytime you're going to see a cup, that's something of an emotional nature showing up in your life. And it's like above you and below you too, the color. It's like whatever it is, it's like really enlightening your solar plexus. And, that's showing up real strong here. So, yeah, I really like that. It could also just be people that you're dealing with having cups energy in their charts, whether or not it's you, Aquarius, or Libra. I heard Aquarius. But, cups energy are going to be Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. So these could be people that have water element in their chart. And in some cases, it might very well be you too. But I think that seeing that next to that awareness card is pretty awesome. I also hear, too, just a cautionary note, too, to just be careful with situations where you might be imbibing, drinking, alcohol or, doing anything that is kind of like that, because awareness is showing up next to that. And sometimes people get too much courage when they've been drinking, and I just have to mention that because we're seeing this thing here about false sense of invulnerability, and especially children here, so not acting childish, and also being careful if they're, children that are going to be in cars or anything. Okay, so let's see what Athlete says in the Carolyn Mace Archetype deck book. The key word they want us to keep in mind is Olympian, and then we have 4 bullet points in the tip. First bullet point states, ultimate expression of strength of spirit represented by the power of the body. Second bullet point says, has strong code of ethics and morality. The third one says, professional skill level less important than willpower and strength of spirit. The last one says, shadow athlete manifests as misuse of strength, false sense of invulnerability, dirty play, or lack of honor that compels one to cheat. The tip is to look for a lifetime dedication to excellence in sport accompanied by strength of spirit. Now, I'm hearing strength of spirit is really the key here, and that's really, what that crowning thought could be at its highest form here, Libra. Then that's really a very strong advice that I'm hearing about anything, especially if you're having a good time right now. A lot of people are being elevated in their energetic stature. I feel in all of this, we've had really challenging astrological conditions that have affected themselves on all of us here on this planet. And part of it is to rise to this point of awareness. And so, I don't know, you might have like an Aquarius person you're dealing with too, or Aquarius in your chart. I just keep hearing Aquarius, and I will tell you, I just read their cards, and they had 2 aces show up. And so, now we've got this ace, this really big, huge ace, this awareness showing up on your mind too. In some cases, I'm hearing you might be dealing with an Aquarius or thinking about one a lot because that awareness is showing up. This Magician card is, I think this could very well be, any air sign for sure. But I'm hearing Aquarius for some of y'all here. And I'm also hearing about Life Path 1. And that's interesting. So, I don't know. They told me to mention Life Path 1. Some of y'all might be dealing with a Life Path 1 person or have that on your mind. But that did just come up here. I'm going to go ahead and open up the the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle Deck book. We're going to read about that awareness card. But yeah, air and, for some reason, other air, but also water is showing up really strong in your world here for the second half of the month. So this could be about characters that you're spending time with or people that are in your life. Here's what the book says on awareness. This card is one of the key reminders that you already possess all of the tools to guide and direct you in your life. Whether it's wisdom, intuition, psychic skill, creativity, self-motivation, love, willpower, physical ability, or just pure courage. They're all part of you. Once you learn to tap into and use them, you'll be amazed by the power and effect that they can have. You have the ability to allow the universe to work in partnership with you. Together you can manifest change, whatever the desire may be, and bring about a positive outcome. This card represents your ability to create your own reality, to set ideas into motion and watch them grow. This card is often drawn when you're ready to switch direction, start a new project, or change careers. Now is the time to use positive thoughts, visualizations, and affirmations as you veer away from negativity. Knowledge is power and can lead to success. By having faith, keeping your willpower strong and directed, and by tapping into the tools that you possess, as well as calling on magic from the universe, you can accomplish anything and everything you set out to do. Traditional tarot archetype, the magician. Wow. I just got like a vision while I was reading that to you too, about someone who somehow, I don't know if it happened already, but I'm hearing that they were able to obtain a sample, is what I'm hearing, and that this is the person feeling very much in charge of a situation now because they had something in their mind and they were able to obtain it. I'm hearing it's some kind of sample. They're showing me like hair, and that I'm hearing about a paternity test, something being proven, and that this 3, I don't always see 3s as triangulation. Sometimes they are, though, you know, that there was a situation where it might have been speculated that someone fathered a child outside of a relationship, and that they're going to find out that's the case, and that they're going to prove the paternity. I just heard that. So, look, you know, praying for you. God's in charge. Not trying to dumb it down for you, but seriously, especially if this has something to do with your kids, your family, or, you know, your love. And I'm hearing douchebag magician, you know, shadow character. He said Gemini. I don't know. I was hearing a lot with Gemini earlier too, but yeah, they're definitely saying, you know, you might have been dealing with, you know, somebody like that, and, you know, that likes to come off like this, and really they're just misusing it, you know. Yeah, and I'm hearing that might be what all this, like, be careful drinking if you're getting behind the wheel of a car or anything. Okay, just be really careful. Call yourself an Uber, especially if you're, like, you know, using alcohol to kind of unwind and stuff and, like, handle some base things that are coming up. But I'm hearing for somebody, I'm hearing something about, like, a hair sample. I don't know. And I heard something about liar, pants on fire. I hear he's getting exposed, and I hear he fucking needs to. But, you know, I'm hearing that might be what the third cup was, that there was actually a third party and you knew it and you were right. So, wow, interesting. Hopefully that doesn't have to deal with more than one person. But, you know, they're definitely saying for some of y'all, children are affecting your love life in some kind of way. It says your love life is being affected by children. In other cases, this doesn't have to be that, and, you know, this doesn't even have to be about a love life. In some cases, this is somebody that's, like, seriously just thinking maybe about expanding their family or getting a pet. You know, this can play out so many different ways. This is a general reading, okay? I can get much more specific if you hire me for a personal. I'm running a $77 special on my Down and Dirty. But, sometimes this Three of Cups is just like having room in your heart to like share and for, that to be expanded. And so sometimes, if this is what's on your mind, you're feeling magician, potent, magical, maybe this is a time where you're thinking about having children, or I'm hearing adopting a pet. So, this person's showing up with open arms here and being like, hey, I'm really strong. I can take on the world. I can take on more. Sometimes it's about expanding the family. So in other cases, though, this might very well have to do with children in your life. And, I'm hearing in some cases it's, I'm hearing about some kind of paternity issue for somebody a lot. Like some of these guys are really nagging me on that one. But aside from that, this could just be about, other children that are in your life too. It doesn't have to be your children or, your spouse's children or somebody you're dating. But in some cases, this could very well be about, I'm hearing not having time to be alone because, the kids are always around. So in some cases, maybe y'all need a babysitter. Put the babysitter in charge so you can go on a date if you need to. It says God is in charge, so, you might find a good babysitter. But I'm going to go ahead and open up the book here on children and see what it says here for you, Libra. All right, children. Your love life is being affected by children. The romance angel sent you this card because your children are a significant factor in your love life. Either you want them or you or your partner have kids who are influencing your love life. This is a factor to consider when you desire to improve your romantic future. The angels honor and support all expressions of love, and they're willing and able to help you with any issue concerning children. In addition, this card can signify that your or your partner's inner child is affecting your relationship. This may mean there's a need for playfulness or lighthearted spirit, or it could signal that it's time to heal a childhood emotional wound. The loving nature of your inner child and children in general is supportive of healing work, especially when its intention is to bring in more love. Yeah, that's really cool. And I guess, that's I can kind of see that happening here. It's like somebody wanting to take that on, that's been feeling like they've been taking on the world and just being very strong for others and like maybe being aware of this and allowing that to come through, so that they can work on their own inner child. And that's a great thing to do. So, see if I get anything else. Yeah, it just kind of looks like that's what's happening here too. It looks like maybe spending time with others who are perhaps doing that and maybe just enjoying that. And sometimes that's what that is too. I mean, children, I've seen this actually show up sometimes where, if this is about the inner child, it's, this is a great indication here, because if you have people in your life that are showing up like this with you or don't, maybe you should. Maybe this is a good time to spend that kind of time. This kind of looks like, how children play. I mean, aside from, whatever's in those cups, that could be, like a grown-up version of a tea party, So I'm hearing in some cases that's really good advice for this part of the month too, and that this is actually going to help complete that circle here so that your expression of that really powerful bipolar, potentially energy is being bridged in a way that's healthy for you. I think that's a good thing to do, Libra, because sometimes y'all want to like switch back and forth and, you're trying to balance things. And guess what? The best balance is not to like be self-critical and just like calling yourself childish, because sometimes y'all can be a little freaking hard on yourselves. Let's be very honest. While you're trying to balance the world, that can feel like the weight of the world on your shoulders. So, maybe the cautionary note here is to just like, let yourself have a good time and let that be the bridge between those two worlds so that you're actually applying this magician energy in a way that feels good. And keep in mind, especially if things get hectic, that God's in charge. So I'm going to leave it on that practical advice and a tip from Archangel Michael. I'm going to seal it up on this prayer for you, Libra. God is in charge. Dear God, please help me let go of the situation. giving it in faith and trust to your divine wisdom, infinite love, in order to resolve and heal everything and everyone involved. Amen. All right, Libra, that's what I got for you. Hope it made sense. Hope you liked it. So, thumbs up, share it with a friend. Subscribe to my channel. I definitely appreciate it. Hit me up if you'd like a personal reading. Got several different kinds that I can do depending on what you have going on in your life. I'm running a ridiculous special through the end of the month on my Down and Dirty reading. Info is below in the description box. All right. Catch you again in a couple of weeks. If I don't hear from you sooner, bye for now. Gonna finish clearing up over here, and we are going to wrap everything up on Gemini. Oh, Gemini, I just heard y'all need to go outdoors if you can. I was seeing that message before. Some of the other signs before, whether the tribe got that. I think it was Pisces. Might be dealing with a Pisces, or have some Pisces in your chart. But, yeah, Gemini, I guess I started with you already here. I was just cheering, go outdoors if you can. And I know some places it might be a little cold to do that, depending on where you are. But sometimes for me, like if it's like too cold to like go walking around barefoot, which I love to do outside when I need to ground myself, just go for a drive. You know, if you have a car, and you can, or you have somebody that can take you, sometimes it's good, you know, just go for like a little scenic drive somewhere and just look outside. And sometimes that's a good way to move your air. You know, you got a lot of air in your chart. If you're a Gemini, you got some Gemini somewhere. And you know what? Air needs to move. Gemini can get really unhappy if they're feeling stagnant. And so I'm just getting a really good hit on y'all. You know, getting a little drive, you know, maybe load up a playlist, make a cool playlist for yourself, something that you're going to enjoy, pack a little snack, and go for a drive. But I'm definitely hearing, get outdoors, Gemini. So I'm going to go ahead and flip your cards. We'll see what the rest of the month looks like for you. All right. I'm hearing major changes. Everybody's getting a lot of new stuff with new starts, and you're just kind of showing up a little bit different. I'm hearing it's a lot about change right now, Gemini. This 5 obstacles and challenges is what actually showed up in like the dead center of your reading. Boom, right here. And I'm hearing it might be a really good thing, though. I know a lot of times people are like, oh, fuck, 5 of Wands, because, you know, that's what this is, the 5 of Wands, and that looks like some possibly tricky steps here, but let me show you something here. You got to put everything into context. Showing up in your physical material realm, you've got this star card here. And if that's not you, or an Aquarius person, it could very well be an Aquarius person. That's an Aquarius card there, Gemini, that star. That is like wishes coming true. That's like being naked in your truth. And so I'm hearing in some cases, like whatever difficult steps or challenging steps or feisty situations they're saying, because in some cases that can be like just some kind of like tumultuous bullshit that's not even really that serious. Sometimes is it serious? I mean, you know, you don't want to take a wrong step there, right? But you know, the path is lit up, right? And even though there's like a hole there, there's like something holding it together, this bridge between those obstacles and those worlds. I never noticed this before. It kind of looks like there's another one underneath here too. It's almost like there's a safety net. So it's like this person like falls. It's like something's going to catch him. I never noticed that before. But it's showing up next to the star here, Gemini. I'm hearing some of y'all need to get outdoors, and that's what this person's doing too. So maybe it's not great weather to go nudie and, you know, dumping water in there, but maybe you have some hot springs or something you can get to. That sounds like a great thing to do right now. And certainly what a magical child would be doing, and I love this card. This is the Carolyn Mace archetype deck, and you know what, Gemini, I like to use this for the kind of challenge style energy that's showing up, and this is what's showing up as your challenge for the second half of January. So what a cool challenge for the new year, right? To be a magical child, perhaps. I'm just going to read to you what the card says here, because if this is not how you are acting or feeling tempted to act, this might be how situations feel around you or how others are sort of coming at you. Light attributes state, seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible. I'm hearing that's a really good reminder of how to look at yourself when you're in front of the mirror, Gemini. Shadow attributes state, pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. Maybe that's why she looks a little sad. I'm just going to say she there, but that can be anybody. I'm sure you know your own gender, right? But I'm going to speak to that. I see like a little girl there in her little fairy wings, and she's daydreaming, but she kind of almost looks a little sad. She's kind of covering herself a bit here. And you notice here, this person is really open. And so I feel like this might be advice here about how to act if this is not you, or if it is you. So that, you know, if you catch yourself feeling kind of shadow character here, just to remember that you are actually magical and that you see the sacred beauty in all things. And sometimes that's learning to stand naked in your own truth there, Gemini. And sometimes that's not easy. And that might actually be what the challenge is, you know? And I don't mean to dumb that one down, but a lot of people aren't even willing to stand completely naked before themselves in an actual physical mirror. A lot of people aren't willing to do that, you know? Let alone show it to someone else. And I have to bring it up because I'm hearing in some cases, you know, you might have called in a soulmate or be working on that or wanting that. And when I say soulmate, let me please not dumb this down too much. People romanticize the idea of soulmate so much, and sometimes it's a karmic relationship that might kind of feel good in some way at first, and really what it's there to do is to like poke a really dirty finger in a wound that maybe you didn't realize you had or forgot about or were hoping was going to be respected, and ow. And sometimes, you know, this is a desire to call in more of like just a harmonious spiritual resonance, okay? A divine sort of partnership, a match that was like protected, kind of like how this is here. If you have treacherous steps to take and you feel like you're going to fall, but somehow you're caught, that kind of relationship, I wouldn't call it a karmic relationship. I would call that like, you know, a divine partnership, let's say. So, you know, you want to call in something like that. Let this be the tip if this is for you. This pessimistic thinking here and not being able to honor and see your own inner beauty, where you might even be covering up the light that would otherwise be shining from within, well, that's not going to call it in. This is the advice. This person is standing naked before their own truth and perhaps even the mirror, right? And pouring that love into themselves. And that magical child behavior is a major change for some people. So maybe that's what that 5 is. And that can be really tricky for some people. So I'm just going to put that out there because 5 of Wands, Obstacles and Challenges card in the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck is showing up on the mind. And so that might be a really good way preparing yourself for the kind of soulmate that's actually going to feel like, hallelujah, my prayer's been answered, okay? So I want to keep that one in mind here a little bit, and I'm going to just break here for a second because the Agarwood went out again. I'm going to keep that lit while I'm finishing your reading. Telling me to take a pass. little bit of smudge on that for you, Gemini. So I hear a lot of y'all are trying to call in a soulmate. You want a good one this time. So, you know what they're telling me? Make sure you're taking the time to feel good. And if you're, daydreaming but kind of depressing over it, that's not you being as kind to yourself as you could be. And so I'm hearing, maybe adopting some of this is going to be really helpful. I'm hearing some of you might have a magical Aquarius in your life too. That's what I'm hearing. I keep hearing about Aquarius in this reading. It's coming up a lot for Libra too. And so, this could be an Aquarius showing up real strong in your life right now, or someone that you need to talk to. If it doesn't have to be an Aquarius person, but this is an Aquarius card, okay? This is the card of Aquarius. So, they're just saying this behavior that you're seeing here is really good for you to emulate right now. Especially if this is you, if you're identifying with, maybe this character in the picture, kind of how I was describing that. So I'm just going to open up the book, Carolyn May's Archetype Deck book. You get an expanded view on that magical child, which is one of my favorite. And I'll just tell you too, children have been coming up a lot. Gosh, there's something coming up about paternity that I was hearing about. All right, this might be big with you guys. I don't know. I was hearing about somebody getting somebody pregnant and it being a lie, and then somebody finding out and having to take bold steps, and like a hair sample that was obtained. And that was coming up a bit with the Libra and also with Aquarius, or at the channeled section. So the child magical could have something to do with that too. I'm also hearing about surprise, conception for some people. You're going to know how that all plays out for you. Maybe you need a personal reading. Be happy to do that. I'm running a special right now. Details are below. But in other cases, they were bringing up warnings with the child here. And I have to say it about childish behavior, especially if there's danger or precarious steps, because, and maybe that's why this is showing up here. Just jumping to the end here. Take your time making this decision, Gemini, if this is, paying you on any level, because this is actually the advice prayer card that we got from Archangel Michael for all y'all. But I'm hearing something about not doing risky behaviors here for some of you guys, especially if there are children involved. But they're saying something about drinking. And this didn't show up upside down, and I haven't always seen this card ever like that, but I'm seeing somebody pouring out a drink, right? And I'm just hearing to be careful. I'm hearing something about an alcoholic, actually, and somebody having feelings now about how that person's, not it being the Gemini, I'm hearing about it being somebody external that's on their mind that might have been a karmic relationship, a freaking karmic partner, that kind of soulmate where it's the person that was there to teach you a lesson about life, and that this is healing that's happening or needs to happen, and it being on somebody's mind about how dangerous certain things were that they were having to deal with because they had a childish person that, was kind of just sucking their life out and their joy. And making them feel depressed. And I'm getting a strong caution on that too. So pay attention, especially if people are doing childish things around you. Now's a really good time to heal. And sometimes if it's poking you that way, because I have to say it, sometimes this Obstacles and Challenges card here is also known as the Five of Wands. So if you're looking in this deck, Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, it's an image of these youthful characters, young men. Let's say there's 5 of them. They're literally they have sticks in their hands, and they're kind of beating at each other maybe. And it's dumb shit. Sometimes it's hostile tactics that are kind of a little done justly, when kids tease each other. And sometimes it can even be hostile work environments and things that make people feel uncomfortable or unsettled. But the way I was seeing it here is just somebody just being kind of reckless and childish, and you're going to know if this is pinging you or not. If that's happening and that's what's on your mind and you're realizing that somebody's being freaking childish with you, this might be a time where I'm hearing some people are making difficult decisions and they're like, you know what? This is me being honest and naked in my truth about the situation, making a difficult decision to scale this carefully and to sometimes cut people out is what I'm hearing. I'm actually seeing a picture of like somebody just being like, hey, this is it. That's the last straw. And it having to do with the fact that they were dealing with a karmic soulmate. So be careful how you make the decision if that's the case. I'm hearing in some cases it's like you were only with this person mostly because things felt dangerous without them, and like that was the glue holding it together. It was like the only thing. I'm hearing in some cases it was about money because sometimes fives like mean a change in money for me too. And I'm just hearing, just be careful how you handle it. You might be dealing with a douchebag. Okay, so I just have to say it. All right. Now, these child archetypes show up for everybody in our lives. We all have a child. There's like 5 different ones. The magical one's my favorite one to work with, pretty much. And magical and divine child are like my favorites. And that's really what you got here. So it's cool energy to be working with, however it shakes out. You just want to make sure that, you're being kind of like a loving parent with yourself, first of all, if that's you, because this is a lot about inner child development and healing. So I'm going to read to you what it says here in the book. We have a keyword to keep in mind, 4 bullet points, and a tip. All right, Gemini. Child magical, also known as the innocent child. First bullet point says, sees potential for sacred beauty in all things. The second one says, embodies wisdom and courage in the face of difficult circumstances. The third one says, is gifted with imagination and the belief that everything is possible. And the last one's about the shadow magical child. The shadow magical child manifests as lack of faith in miracles and transformation, attitudes of pessimism and depression, and as the belief that energy and action are not required, allowing one to retreat into fantasy. And the tip to keep in mind is to look for a pattern of transcendence over apparently negative circumstances from early on in life. And they just want me to remind you that second bullet point, because it says embodies wisdom and courage in the face of difficult circumstances. And I'm hearing that's probably what you really need to keep on your mind, because if this is what's on your mind here, 5 obstacles and challenges, you need to know that you have the strength and the courage and the wisdom to take those steps in an appropriate manner that's going to be healing for you. Because I think that that's what the star is here to remind you. It's like how to embody yourself for the second half of the month here. If this isn't an actual person in your life, and if it is an actual person in your life, maybe that's your model or your template, is to kind of like, whatever it is that you find healing about that person or that type of individual that might be showing up like this, to kind of adopt that for yourself, because that's actually what's going to help make those steps safe that are ahead of you here. So I'm going to open up that book. That's the John Holland Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. And this is the book. We're going to read about that 5 obstacles and challenges. All right, Gemini. This card represents the obstacles, power struggles, and challenges that you must face in order to overcome them. This could be a difficult period to get through, but it's not impossible if you open your mind and see the bigger picture of how something went wrong. Don't get caught up in it. Just pause and stand back for clarity. Observe where adjustments are required or which decisions may need to be changed to enable you to move forward in a positive direction. So even if you're feeling rushed, remember, I just had to stop and grab this. Take your time making this decision, Gemini, okay? Because it might be dealing with some karmic bullshit, and so sometimes these things can get enmeshed and tangled, right? Life really is all about learning. Don't play the victim. Take the knowledge you've gained from this experience so that you can apply it to similar situations in the future. This card often comes forth when competition is around you, whether it's in your personal or business life. This is an excellent time to think creatively and ask yourself, how can I make myself shine above all the rest? I think it's by being the light that you are, being bold in your truth in a way that heals you first so that you can be in your magic. And also the custody or the custodian of that inner child. Especially if you didn't have like somebody to do that for you before. You know, I'm hearing something about like family dynamics and put upon and like Gemini being expected to be like the glue between like the broken pieces that might have been the family, you know, the mother and the father, and just feeling like you've just been trying to fill a fucking bucket of holes is how they're showing it to me. And that's karma, darling. That's all karma. So, you know, one of the hardest things to do is to recognize that too, especially if that's coming through like a mate at some point and you're at that point where it's like, holy fuck, this is all it's ever going to be with you. And you just come to that point of awareness that it's not to be like victimizing yourself there and like, oh, I just keep getting beat up here, you know, because you might have a decision to make, especially if it's like getting out of something and there might be a child involved and this is like, how do I deal with this? You know, you might be finding out that, you know, it's something that's inconvenient. And I'm really sorry if that's the case. And I'm praying for your family. I'm not trying to dumb this down or anything. I'm just saying that sometimes this has shown up for me like that. And it's like having to reconcile this now and learning how to heal yourself in that situation where you're not feeling like the victim and like you just got like ripped apart and, you know, or having to take dangerous steps, and like realizing that even though that situation sucked, it was there to heal this part of your heart, and that you might not even be ready to hear about another soulmate right now, but this is sometimes you being your own soulmate and calling that in, that own healing that inner child, okay? And that sometimes that is the glue that's going to repair the world, right? So that the steps are safe, because now, you know, that's what the healing is for. It's like healing that part of your ego, right? And that eventually, in some cases, that's actually what calls the kind of soulmate that you want forward. You know, a divine partnership that feels like the actual bridge between those previously damaged worlds. So play out different ways for you. But if that's the case, you know, take your time there. And mostly with yourself, you know. I'll say make that time about your healing. If that's the case with Gemini. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Dream Virtues Romance Angels Oracle Deck book. I'm going to read to you about calling in your soulmate. I heard as above, so below again. Let me drop the book here. So as above, so below. May Gemini have peace and healing with their soulmates. All of them. We're going to see what the book says. It opened right up to the page, so they really want me to read this for you, Gemini. Here we go. That doesn't always happen. It's just open right up. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. Maybe that's what that change is. It's a healing change on your mind, bringing the worlds together. You, like everyone, have soulmates. These are people with whom you share time in heaven and in other lives. You made a soul agreement to meet in this lifetime for the purpose of mutual spiritual growth. You have many such agreements with various people who are all your soulmates. They include friends, family members, co-workers, and romantic partners. This card guides you to actively call your romantic soulmate into your life. You can do so through prayer, affirmations, and visualizations. It also means working on yourself so that you epitomize the qualities you're seeking in a partner. For instance, if you desire a significant other who's got a great sense of humor, develop this within yourself first. Like attracts like, which is part of calling in your soulmate. So, straight to the point there. And I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this one up here before I go too much longer, Gemini. Take your time making this decision. I'm hearing a lot of y'all are making decisions right now. So make sure that you're just being really super honest with yourself. I think this is actually a lot of you all in a healing state, burying yourself naked before yourself in your truth, pouring that love into yourself so that it's illuminating your sky and your own mind, and making a decision that feels authentic within. So I'm going to leave it on that with this prayer for you, Gemini. Dear Archangel Michael, please help me stay strong and relaxed as I approach the situation. Remind me to detach and step back, allowing the situation to naturally unfold. Thank you for protecting me. Amen. All right, Gemini, that's what I got for you. Hope you liked it. Hope it made sense. If so, give your brother some thumbs up. Share with a friend. Subscribe. Hit me up if you'd like a personal. I'd love to take a personal look for you. I'm running a kick-ass special on my Down and Dirty reading. Information is below in the description box. You can also hit me up at prayer@fatheroftribes.com for more information about that or about asking me to just do a prayer for you. I'd love to pray for you if that's something that would help you in your situation right now. So take care. God bless. And if I don't hear from you, I'll catch you again in a couple of weeks. I'm back for another one of these.